Hello. Okay, I think we can go ahead and begin. Thank you to our two audience who are here. Thank you for your time. We were gonna cancel, but we just wanted to share with whoever is interested in what we've been doing. So we're from the Marshall Islands, and our project is low carbon sea transport. It's inter lagoon domestic project. I'll hand it over to my colleague, Director Clarence Samuel, who's in place of the Honorable Minister who cannot attend at the moment. Okay, thank you, Clarence.
I hope you can hear me all right. Thank you. All right, as my colleague Angeline mentioned, the minister is unable to attend due to other meeting that he just simply cannot avoid. But instead, I will deliver his opening remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished delegates, honored guests, welcome to the Low Carbon Sea Transport Site events. I stand before you not just as a representative of the Marshall Islands, but as a voice for all who share in the struggle against climate change. Our islands, known for their beauty, resilience, are facing existential threat caused by climate change. The collaboration between the Marshall Islands government and Waan Aelon and Majel, known also as WAM, exemplifies our commitment to sustainable future. Through this project, we seek to transform transport by blending new sustainable vessel designs with the time-honored canoe building techniques of our ancestors, thus setting a new standard for transportation in our country and significantly reducing greenhouse gas emissions. For the Marshall Islands, the reliance on fossil fuel has always been a double-edged sword. It's not only environmentally damaging, but also places an unbearable financial constraints on our national budget. This reliance is forcing our communities to consider leaving their beloved homes as the rising seas threaten our very existence. In these challenging times, these canoes symbolize far more than traditional rafts. They are lifelines of our neighboring islands, which embody hope and resilience. Through this project, we are empowering our people to become boat building trainers and skilled artisans in their own rights. This initiative strengthens our communities, providing them with skills and self-sufficiency needed to not just to survive, but to thrive. I am therefore thrilled to announce that with the generous support and technical assistance from our esteemed partners, such as the government of the people of Germany, we have made it possible for others to build their vital vessels. It gives me great pleasure to present to comprehensive yet easy to follow manuals on how to construct these boats. Our intention is to share these resources not just within the Marshall Islands, but with the Pacific Islands nations and the broader international community. Together, we can ensure that our traditions are preserved, our environment is protected, and our communities remain strong and resilient. With that, I hand it over to our moderator. Thank you and komoltala.
Thank you, Clarence. As you know, our site event is featuring teaching manuals on how to create or build these traditional Marshallese sailing canoes where we're marrying them into contemporary modern technology. Whereas one of our catamarans utilizes solar and electric outboard during times when there's no wind. So, just a brief background: the Marshall Islands consists of 23 low-lying atolls that make up the Marshall Islands, and we only have 4 of these from 23 islands that have access to energy through engine generators or power plant. The cost of fuel in the outer islands or rural communities where they have no access to energy through diesel generator, the cost of fuel range from $10 US dollar USD per gallon to 20. So it's a huge burden on our livelihood. And it's also a huge burden in making sure that we transport fuel to the outer islands. We're sea people, we're fishermen, and we depend on the water for our livelihood. But with global changes, we've faced many challenges where some islands are losing their traditional skills. With colonialism, with the introduction of Western goods, it's unfortunate that some islands actually have no traditional knowledge of building sea vessels. So we're trying to revitalize that. And with Tony, he will give a brief presentation, PowerPoint presentation, and explaining in depth more on the presentation and how it's being an indigenous-led project, one that I'm very proud of, because although the initial funding came from our donor partners, it was the government that stepped in and used its own funding to hand it over to make sure that our Waan Aelon in Majel, which is an NGO, which Tony represents, and which takes the lead in this project, make sure that it's being sustainable and extended. Okay, Tony.
Are you able to pull up the So you're in this on the TV screen. You see a glimpse of life in the Marshall Islands, particularly when you go into more remote areas. So on the top right, your top right, you have a government vessel that transport goods to various neighboring islands. It's powered by diesel or gasoline. And then you see on the bottom left of the picture, you see a motorboat that transport goods from the government vessel into the various neighboring atolls. So that is the process that repeats itself every 2 to 3 months. So if you're living outside of the capital, that boat is your lifeline to the modern world. And it comes by and drop off school supplies, food, sometimes water, whatever your basic necessities. So you wait and you depend on these 2 things that destroys our environment. So today I stand before you to share a remarkable tale of resilience, innovation, and hope. A tale woven by the people of the Marshall Islands. As we gather here today at COP29, the world's premier climate event, we are reminded of our shared responsibility to safeguard our planet for future generations. This project that was initiated by an indigenous-led organization in the Marshall Islands is not just an initiative. As you see in this picture, it is actually a lifeline for the Marshallese people, particularly those in the remote outer islands. This project champions the use of traditional canoes, vessels that are not only steeped in cultural heritage but also beacons of sustainable innovation. Can you go to the next slide, please? Sorry, I'll do it from here. The ancient art of canoe building is at the heart of the Marshallese culture. These canoes, once used for exploration and trade, are now reborn through this project as symbols of a sustainable future. Crafted with care and precision, each canoe embodies three essential virtues critical for the survival of the Marshallese people. These are not Marshallese canoes. So the canoes that we build, which we'll show later on the project, basically embodies three things that are missing in this picture. One, affordability. In a world where economic disparity often dictates access to technology, our canoes represent an affordable solution. They are built using local materials and traditional techniques, ensuring that even the most isolated communities can benefit. The affordability of these vessels meant that no islander is left behind. Number two, they are clean. In stark contrast to the fossil fuel powered vessels that dominate our seas, these canoes harness the power of the wind and the power of the waves. They are clean, producing no emissions and leaving no carbon footprint. The commitment to clean energy not only preserves the pristine beauty of our oceans, but also contributes to the global fight against climate change. And number three, sustainability. These canoes are more than just a mode of transport. They are a testament to the sustainable spirit of the Marshallese people. By reviving traditional practices and integrating them with modern sustainable technologies, the project ensures that these communities can thrive for generations to come. Sustainability is not an abstract concept here. It is a way of life, a promise to future generations. So this, on the TV, this is a Marshallese traditional canoe. We wanted not to change the concept of a Marshallese canoe, but we wanted to marry these two, using traditional local knowledge and combine it with modern innovation. Our canoes have been around for the past 2,000 years. Our ancestors have always provided us with a solution in transporting people and transporting goods. And the Marshallese have harnessed the amazing power of the wind to sustain their livelihood. So right in the middle, you see what we call a catamaran. Right on the left, that's a motorboat, and on the right, that's a Marshallese traditional canoe. So this project, one of our design is what we call a WAM catamaran. WAM is the organization I work for, and this catamaran can carry up to 2 tons of goods and up to 15 people. So these are meant for transportation within an atoll. So if you do not know what an atoll is, so an atoll is basically a pocket of little islands that form a lagoon in the middle. So these canoes are not designed to go Maui and Moana all the way into the Pacific Ocean, but rather to transport goods and people from point A and point B within an atoll community. Now, mind you, gasoline and diesel in our island and possibly within all the Pacific countries can range from $10 a gallon US dollar to $20 or $30 in a country where the minimum wage is $3 US dollar an hour. So I'm not a math person, but that equation does not add up. Not only are these destructive to our environment, but we no longer can afford fossil fuel. That's a fact that has been happening for the last few years for our people. So that's basically one of the designs that we build in our school, Canoes of the Marshall Island, and we donate to the remote island atolls and island communities in the Republic. The second design is what we call a WAM proa. It's basically almost the same concept, except that when you see on the bottom, it's flat. So there's actually air pockets that allows for as much weight as possible to be put onto the graph without it being going down. So your traditional hull of a canoe or any boat, it's almost like a V shape, so that the more weight it goes down, the more weight you put on it, it basically goes down. But these boats that we design, because it's flat on the bottom and we fill it with air, you can put as much as 20 people and the weight won't go down. It can also carry up to 2 tons of goods and material. As you can see, these are popular with the kids. And that's basically what we also do at our program. We build these catamarans and these proas, and we donate it to the people of the various outer island communities in the Marshall Islands. Director Clarence of the Climate Change Directorate of the Republic of the Marshall Islands alluded this in the beginning of the statement. We actually wrote two extensive manuals. Our goal in this project is we want to give these manuals to basically anybody that is interested in building these kind of vessels, free of charge, no strings attached. We want to sit down with universities and colleges, not just within the Republic, but also outside of our territories within the Pacific. Anybody that is interested in using this innovation to help communities that are struggling with the cost of fossil fuel within the realm of sea transport. So right after this presentation, if you're interested, that is the handsome guy you can contact, and we'll take it from there. I want to end my brief presentation with just a few words. I promised Angeline that I will keep it brief this time. We also did this presentation at the Moana Pacific Pavilion. So I told her I'll cut it out by 5 minutes this time. So as we reflect on the success of the Low Carbon Sea Transport Project, we must acknowledge that it stands as a testament to what can be achieved when tradition meets innovation. However, the journey for us does not end here. The path to a sustainable future requires continuing support and investment. Therefore, as we made the call at the Moana Blue Pacific, we make the same call to the global community, global governments, and private sector leaders to join us in this endeavor. We need support to scale this project, to build more canoes, to train more people, and to ensure that every corner of the Marshall Islands, the Pacific, the Caribbean, the Atlantic, the Indian, can benefit from this initiative. Together, we can ensure that the various people that are suffering through climate change can remain vibrant, resilient, and sustainable. Let us invest in the future, not just for the island people, but for all of humanity. For in supporting projects that are led by indigenous organizations like Canoes of the Marshall Islands, we are not just preserving a culture, we are pioneering a path to a sustainable future for all. So today I'm here to tell you that we have found a solution. It is affordable, it is sustainable, and most importantly, it is clean for our ocean. And we found it exactly where our ancestors left it, home. Thank you. Komol-dada.
Thank you, Tony. I think we have time for maybe one or two question Q&A session if there's any questions to the panel.
Yeah, great presentation, Masanori Kobayashi from the Sasakawa Peace Foundation in Tokyo, Japan. I think building canoe is one thing, but how to, operate this canoe is another thing, and also this safety and some hazard, and some people, even in Japan, we've been missing a couple people who does this stand-up paddle, because we have a strong current, and sometimes people are misplaced, and no matter how long the rescues search for that person, it's very difficult to find. So I just wondered if your techniques of operations and some safety measures can be also supplemented. Thank you.
Thank you for that. So the way we do our project is instead of just building these boats and giving it to the people, when we select a community that we want to build boat and assist them, we actually invite members of the community to come into our program. So we invite builders from various communities to come and join our team for about 3 months. So when they come into our shop, they're actually the ones that are building these canoes. And so within this training, the trainer method, we try to give them as much skill as possible as we can. I mean, granted, you cannot learn anything and be an expert at it after 3 months, but it teaches them basic concept on how to maintain a canoe, how to operate a canoe, and how to sail a canoe. And we actually, when we give these boats out to the various outer island, we actually have a requirement. So they have to sign a contract on what not to use the boat for safety purposes. Ends in the presentation, they cannot go outside of the reef. So these are meant for inside lagoon transportation, not necessarily for rough seas. And so there's a contract that they have to sign and abide by, and it calls for basic communication tools that have to be on board. For example, radio. There has to be a working radio on board. There has to be life jackets on board. We try to do what we can, but with the mind that these islands are already suffering through economic restraint. So we cannot. We have to be very careful on the standard that we give these people. Otherwise, if we put it at the highest, then nobody's gonna even afford to ride our boat. So we try to create a standard that is in line with the project, that is sustainable, even affordable for them to continue to use the canoe. But we don't just give it to them. We actually train them on how to use it, how to build it, how to maintain it, and especially how to operate it safely.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other question? If not, maybe I'll just add into what Tony was saying, because I think we forgot to mention that these catamarans, they also, it's like the lifeline because they deliver copra. So when coconut, they deliver coconut. Our main source of revenue in our rural communities is harvesting coconut. So in the first presentation where Tony showed where he have the big government ship, that ship not only deliver goods, but it comes in to pick up coconuts. So we have so many outboard engine modern boats that are used for inter-island. And when I say inter-island, Marshall Island is very complicated. When I say 123 atolls, one atoll consists of maybe 9 communities separated by water. And the lagoon is very vast and big. So you need these boats to transport between, to pick up coconuts and deliver to that huge ship. That's what that small sea craft is doing. So for one of the islands where we did this pilot project on, the local government, which is funded by the national government, it's like a local municipality. They get their general funding maybe around $50,000 a year. More than 50% of that funding is used for fuel procurement. That is fuel procurement right there, where they bring in fuel from the island of Majel, and this is how we deliver it to land. So with that island, which is called Lugiep, we were able to see that once they had the middle sea craft, they were able to cut their fuel consumption by half and devote most of their funding to other activities like school, healthcare. So this is why we're very keen on this project, and it's not much. The boats actually cost around $3,000 to build, US dollar. The funding that is mostly stressed on is bringing in people from the outer island communities to the island of Majel and give them DSA, daily stipends. Because we house them, we feed them, and we make sure that they're safe for the 3 months. So now we're re-looking at it. Maybe we go to these outer islands, take the materials and build it in the outer island communities. It's a work in progress, but it's something that we're very proud of because it symbolizes our own indigenous skills and it symbolizes us as ocean people. Thank you.
So in addition to that, so the one in the middle, that's one of the boats that we built. The material can range from 30,000 to 5,000 to build a complete boat. On the right, the motorboat in the Marshall Island can range from 20,000 to 30,000, not including the motor engine. The engine, that's another 5 to 10K. Now you're not including the fuel. So it's already not affordable, but we have to use them, the motorboats. So these little catamarans, we hope to phase out this process, the little motorboats that service the outer islands with the other one, the one that has always been there from the beginning.
Thanks for an interesting presentation. Just wanted to know, how long do these catamarans, what is their lifetime approximately?
So this catamaran, we actually use plywood, and we glue it with epoxy and resin and fiberglass. If you take care of it really well, it can last from 15 to 20 years. A motorboat, if you own a boat, the motor can last from 5 to 10 years, and you have to replace it eventually, not including the parts and all of that. So that's why we bring in the people from the outer islands into a program for about 3 months before we give them as a donation the boats that we build, so that they learn how to maintain it and keep it well.
If there's no other question, I'd like to thank the audience for taking your time to come and just give your attention to our very humble, locally led project. Thank you. Kamoldada.